Denji and Asa are on the run in chapter 129 of Chainsaw Man, but I think most important of all in this chapter, we get the reveal of the Chainsaw Man mobile. This is another short chapter by Fujimoto, and I think it's, expected at this point because lately Fujimoto's been dishing out these short but substance-filled chapters, which I'm totally fine with as long as we're getting consistent chapters. That's all I really care about, right? Even if it does take 2 weeks, just like this next chapter, we're going to be waiting another 2 weeks, yet again like we did for this one, but I'm okay with that because this chapter was very, very much worth the wait. If you guys remember, in the previous chapter, we left off with the major cliffhanger of a second Chainsaw Man returning to save Denji and Asa. This was the first time we saw this fake Chainsaw Man since like 10-15 chapters back when we saw it take out Yuko. This fake Chainsaw Man tells Denji to stay away from the devils that are going to try to eat Asa until sunrise. Why sunrise specifically? Why does this fake Chainsaw Man know all of this? I have no clue, and unfortunately we don't find out any of those details in this chapter, but that definitely didn't keep it from being a very, very entertaining one, because we pick up this chapter immediately after the end of the previous one, where Asa's waking up and noticing that there are two chainsaw men and is very confused, much like us readers are. The running theory on this new Chainsaw Man right now is that it might potentially be someone in contract with the Justice Devil, and I could definitely see how that would make some sense, seeing as how the Justice Devil has definitely played a major role in part 2, where it was pretty much the first devil we saw fight in the very first chapter of part 2, and on top of that, it's the devil that made a contract with Yuko to cause all that destruction at Asa's high school. It's never been specifically stated that this Justice Devil is like after Denji's heart, which was pretty much the main objective of part 1. So there is a good possibility that the Justice Devil might actually be an ally of Chainsaw Man's, in the sense that Chainsaw Man is this like hero-like figure now, and the Justice Devil, being the Justice Devil, sees Chainsaw Man as a symbol of justice, so it is possible that it would gladly make a contract with a super Chainsaw Man fan in order to create a copycat. And I also thought it was very interesting when Haruka was explaining that he was like just a major Chainsaw Man fan, that he was the runner-up to the Chainsaw Man trivia contest. This might have been slightly alluding to the fact that there is a major super Chainsaw Man fan out there that literally wants to become him, and this is him. But getting back to the chapter, Denji and Asa come bursting out of the hell door with a bunch of the tendrils from that slug or worm monster following them. It seems like they did some damage on Denji because he's on the ground and seemingly down for the count. Well, of course, considering that Yoru sees everything that Asa sees, she's like immediately demanding Asa kill Chainsaw Man right there and then so she can finally leave her body and leave her alone. It's basically giving Asa everything she's wanted since the beginning of part 2. She just wants to get rid of Yoru. Well, the crazy thing is that given the opportunity to do exactly that, to get her life back to normal, Asa refuses to do so. She does the exact opposite of what Yoru says, picks up a sharp object and stabs herself in the hand in order to feed Denji more blood so he can regenerate and save her. Well, Yoru's kind of berating her as she's doing this, of course, and Asa kind of explains her reasoning for helping Chainsaw Man instead of getting rid of him to get her life back to normal, and I think it's yet another wonderful instance of character development for Asa, and we get some insight into some very interesting newfound motivation that Asa has because of Chainsaw Man. Because as she's feeding him blood, she says, "Between that time with Yuko and tonight, Chainsaw Man has saved my life twice now. Besides, watching Chainsaw Man makes me think, if a piece of trash like him is allowed to keep living, then maybe it's okay for me to live too." And I'm guessing she's calling him a piece of trash here because, it's kind of calling back to the moment where she asks him what his motivations are for still moving forward, and Denji tells her that it's women. He wants to have sex with women. And of course she gets grossed out by this, but she makes it into a classic case of when you have lemons, you make lemonade, right? Because she's like, wow, this dude's motivation is complete garbage, but seeing as how a garbage person like this can continue living and still thrive, why shouldn't I be able to? Which is a very interesting way of looking at things, and maybe a little bit twisted in a way, but I mean, at the end of the day, this is a lot better than a few chapters prior when Asa was pretty much admitting defeat and giving herself up to the falling devil and the thought of death, pretty much. Really cool moment in my opinion, and I think it's just Fujimoto's clever way of continuing to grow that bond between Asa and Chainsaw Man, and by extension Denji, of course. So she drips the blood into Chainsaw Man's mouth and says, "Save me, Chainsaw Man," and in that moment, that worm monster is about to strike both of them, but of course in the blink of an eye, Denji manages to get them out of there, and they start running running through the city, jumping on top of cars, running off of walls, you know, some crazy action sequences like that. And we get these incredible panels that really show us how strong this worm monster really is. When Denji's like jumping mid-air and they get surrounded by the worm monster's tendrils or tail, I'm not really sure what to call it. I'm just gonna call it tendrils, whatever. Chainsaw Man narrowly dodges them, but he points out that he's starting to get tired. Well, Asa actually sees somebody riding on a motorcycle and tells him to steal it, but funnily enough, it's a woman driving the motorcycle, and Denji says, "Don't be stupid, I can't steal that, you thief, a woman's riding it." Classic Denji, even in the most dire situations like this. Never change, my friend. Always say the same. Well, immediately after that, Asa sees another person riding a motorcycle, but this time it's a guy, so she's like, alright, we'll steal this one then. And Denji just kicks the dude straight off the bike and says, beat it. So alright, now they have their motorcycle, so Denji doesn't have to run anymore. But of course, Denji being like a 16-year-old kid, he doesn't know how to ride it. So they're pretty much just sitting ducks at this point, and one of the tendrils from the worm monster is about to strike them head on. This is when Asa does something incredible and says, Super Chainsaw Man motorcycle, and we get this incredible panel of the motorcycle transforming into like the Chainsaw Man mobile or something, because it turns all black and it gets this enormous chainsaw at the front of it. So of course this means we're about to be getting some like Mad Max level action here, with Denji shredding through the tendrils of the worm monster to defeat it. And who knows what else is going to happen, because at this point Asa and Denji are fully teaming up to take out this worm monster. And this is definitely giving me like Rize versus Denji and Beam vibes, where it's just like this insane battle with all these different things going on. Super over the top in classic Fujimoto fashion. So although this chapter was definitely a shorter one, it was most certainly filled with enough action for me to be satisfied with the shortness of the chapter. Really hard to tell what's going to happen next, but knowing Fujimoto, he's definitely not going to be taking the foot off the gas anytime soon. Let me know what you guys think about this chapter in the comments below. If you enjoy Chainsaw Man in general, make sure to subscribe and turn those notifications on, because I post Chainsaw Man content each and every week on this channel. And make sure to join my new Discord server to join other Chainsaw Man fans and make a new friend or two today. Why not? Hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.